In this video, let's take a look at how to use pulsing engine instruments in your compositions. In this style, there's a couple of ways you can create rhythm and pace. One is like I showed you, you can use ostinato patterns. Then you can also do it with some percussion instruments, which I'll show a bit later in this series. And then you can also employ instruments that are pulse generating engines, like this instrument over here. This is Heaviosity's Aeon instrument that creates some nice pulsing sequencing sounds, and these type of sounds are very popular in modern epic productions. So there's quite a selection of these on the market. The company Output has their Signal engine, and like I've showed you, Heaviosity has some of their own pulsing instruments as well. And you'll probably find that there's some bundled instruments like this in your DAW as well. For example, in Logic, Alchemy has some rhythmic instruments as well. You can see there's a rhythmic tab. I've selected drums, and then in here, I've chosen this patch, Steam Pressure. Check this out. So just check out in your DAW if you do have some pulsing or sequencing instruments that you can use. Now, they work well as they can be used to help create tension and climax in the piece. So as I mentioned, on this track, I'm using Heaviosity's pulse generating instrument. And this is hosted on a slave machine of mine through VE Pro. So I'm using this to distribute the load of other instruments off my main machine to another machine. It works really well, and I'd highly recommend it as a tool to use when you start running out of resources on your main machine. So when I play an instrument in Logic, it's triggering this instrument on my slave machine. So if you see these Vienna Ensemble instances on my instruments, you know that these are being hosted on my other machine. And with this sound, on the introduction section, let's have it coming in about halfway. Let's record this in. And this can just play out through the remainder of the piece. And just check the timing of that. It did come in slightly early. And for the end, that can also end right there. And the volume is a bit loud, so let's drop it. That's sounding pretty good. Cool. So that covers the intro section for this piece. Now, when it gets into this main theme over here, it would be nice if it built it up better to have some sort of impact going into that. So next, let's take a look at how to use some riser sounds to create this build-up.